Hi, everybody. Yeah, 964 days today. 964 days. And I'm always amazed. Um, if you did body language reading, you would know. I'm always amazed how we have reached this time, 964 days. Um, I was saying the same things at 800 days and 600 days and 400 days, but now we're headed to 1,000 days. And I don't know how many live streams I've done, but I know it's has to be over 2,000. And like we said at the very very beginning, uh, Richard is our son. We made promises to him. We love him, and we would climb any mountain, go down any valley, um, cross any stream, any river to find him, right? To find him. Because we knew at the beginning of this that it wasn't right, that they didn't contact us. There was no 2 week letter. The Army messed up. We knew when my husband was talking to Captain Yoshida, he was a nervous wreck crying. It wasn't right. It was just, nothing felt right. You knew that there had been foul play. You knew that all of the spirit, the emotions, declared foul play. And so when the military responded in the way they did, and then threw us out, you have to remember they threw us out, that we couldn't even. Richard was a distinguished honor graduate for basic training and AIT. My husband is a 30-year veteran, Army veteran. My dad is a 23-year Army veteran, RIP dad. He just passed away in August. My father-in-law was also over 20 years veteran in the Air Force. And for them to throw us out, that we couldn't even put in a missing persons report for our son, was really, really bad, really bad. And then the fugitive apprehension unit came to our home because we reported it. Okay, we were reporting that our son was missing, and so the fugitive apprehension, because at that time Richard was then labeled a deserter, and that's why they had to come to our home. And one came in front, one came in the back. They were looking and were like, come on in. Something is being done. We were happy to see them because something was being done, you know. And then we decided to go on social media. We watched I Am Vanessa, and because we didn't even know about the Vanessa Guillen's case because of what was going on with COVID, and people in our family losing jobs and needing help and everything. So we watched I Am Vanessa. We decided to use social media. We decided to organize. After calling, you have to realize that we were told, because Rob wanted every item of Richard's things. We wanted that inventoried. We wanted to know, was Richard's passport in his things? What was in his things? And was his rifle. They had his rifle. So we were told that there was no passports because Richard had, because since we adopted him from Poland, he and also lived a long time. He grew up in Ireland. He had an Irish passport. He had a Polish passport. He didn't have that with him though. But he did have the Irish and the U.S. passport. The Irish is was expired, and we were told that the American passport, the U.S. passport, was not in his belongings. It was, but we didn't know that, and so we were calling. We were working very, very hard to see if there was any possibility, because we knew Richard had told us that the leadership was so bad. He even volunteered to be deployed again. He was asking for a transfer to at least another battery because things were so bad. Um, but so we were thinking, okay, let's look at the possibility of him walking away, and we called so many places, so many authorities in different countries, so that maybe there was a sign of Richard, but there wasn't. And we knew there was foul play because it just stunk like foul play. It walked like foul play. It sounded like foul play. And so then it is foul play, right? But we weren't so sure at the beginning, and it's very. I mean, even though it looks like foul play and sounds like foul play and smells like foul play and acts like foul play, you can't just say cry foul play, right? So, so I've been going back through a lot of the information that we had, and we have a lot. We have so much. It's going to take me a long time to go through because, of course, we are trying to write everything down, record everything down on paper that that we have experienced in this, and try to do the right thing. And at the beginning, we wanted the right thing to be the military because of 2020, 2019 being so volatile with all of the true protests with the Black Lives Matter movement, that was really not really a Black Lives Matter movement, okay? Because you would not burn down and destroy inner cities, opportunity zones that were being very successful for the Black community if you were a Black Lives Matter person, you know. No, it was very obvious that there was some kind of civil battle going on in the country. And we told the military, we told the army, we said, you know, this stinks, but we need your help, and we want to win-win. We want to find our son, but we want to win for the army too. We need to preserve. We're not anarchists, okay? We are true patriots. We love our country. We've served our country, and we wanted a win-win. We wanted a win for the army. We wanted the army to look good out of this, to find our son, even though they hadn't contacted us, and we knew that there was some things involved in this that they didn't want to tell us. And we have that on record, that we were telling the PAO for the general. The general was still not in his seat because of the COVID lockdown. You know, it was just a mess. It was really a mess. He was in quarantine, and we told Allie Payne, that was the PAO at the time. We told her that we wanted a win-win. She responded in an intimidating way, and I think it was her job to try to intimidate us about our son. And they had decided in their operations discussion, their colluding discussions, how they were going to handle Find Richard Halliday now that the parents know that he's missing. And they did bring us back in because they wanted to, I believe, and I'm being very bold here, I believe they wanted to control the narrative, and they wanted to groundlessly smear Richard and start their asymmetric warfare tactics against us and their military operations against us, because that's what happened. That's what happened. from the military police guard mount. We heard that a senior leader went to the guard mount for the military police right there on Fort Bliss and groundlessly smeared Richard with the most horrible accusations you can imagine. No one would want to search for Richard, okay? Instead of rallying around him and saying, this is the distinguished undergraduate for basic training in AIT for his cycle. He is a combat lifesaver. He earned 3 AAMs in the first 14 months. You know, this is the guidon bearer. We need to find him. You know, that is the psychological way you sing that person's praises. And I know it doesn't matter, every soldier, but this is the way the world works, to motivate people. You know, they're going to look for a diamond much quicker than a slug, okay? They're going to look for a gold coin, I should say it better this way, a gold coin much quicker than a slug. And so that's, if you're the police, if you are a leader in the military, you know, because they spend so much, the Pentagon spends so much money on psychological operations. You can go and check that out. It's huge, because that is how you win wars. That is even a weapon, is dealing with psychological operations. And so, you know, their psychological operations was to smear Richard. So this was absolutely a cover-up. They did not want to find Richard, the way they responded to us. And of course, when we pressured them enough, well, I should say, when we drove them, because Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe said we were driven. Our failures drove us to do the right thing, right? They need to be driven to do the right thing. And those failures have to be exposed in order to drive them to do the right thing. So we were doing our best to get all this out there about our family, to really undo the narrative that they were putting in place, which was horrible. And they had a head start because they started doing it before we even knew that our son was missing. And the soldiers were spewing that kind of smear to us in communications with us. And so we knew that they were smearing Richard. And the command didn't do anything about it. They didn't call a press conference. They did not ever, never, ever did they say in the press conference, this is our soldier. We need to find our soldier, the distinguished undergraduate for his cycle in basic training in AIT, the combat lifesaver, the award-winning 3 Army what is it called, the AAMs, the Army Achievement Medals, 3 Army Achievement Medal winner, this great patriot. We need to find him. They never did that in front of the cameras. And so we knew they were up to no good. And any leader that is not willing to have one of our volunteer sons and daughters back is up to no good, okay? Because that's their job. That's their job, is to inspire esprit de corps. You know, inspire that esprit de corps, inspire that Medal of Honor ethos, the creeds, you know, the all of the virtues that they say they espouse, but yet they are the complete opposite. They are running a criminal syndicate, a crimes against humanity. And I know that sounds so outlandish, but it was the Department of Defense that did all of this nonsense in the last few years. And think about it. None of this could be happening in Washington, D.C. if we had a very able and ready Department of Defense military, because they would check and balance, okay? Especially with 44 4-star generals and admirals. They could check and balance in World War II with seven, uh, with 10 times the amount of service members, and absolutely even have Washington shaking in their boots because they knew that the military industrial complex was very, very powerful. Well, ours now doesn't work for us. Our military industrial complex doesn't work for us, even though we've given them everything. We've given them everything, including our blessings, prayers, our volunteer sons and daughters, but they don't even work for us anymore. They're working, they have betrayed us, and they're working for foreign and domestic enemies. And it's very clear because there's even jokes out right now of all of the Biden family money being paid by the Communist Chinese Party. That's coming out, and you can correct me. Go ahead and correct me, but I'm telling you that something stunk really bad in this case, and that is the lack of esprit de corps, the lack of an army of one, the lack of the Medal of Honor ethos, the lack of leadership that had integrity, honor, duty, respect. They are not respected. They laugh behind their back. The service members laugh behind their back or give them the finger, behind their back, because they will say to us, they will insult us with, oh, we take underage drinking seriously, while all the while bringing in girls during COVID for the parties. Let's have our frat parties every day with illegal drugs and alcohol and grog groups and whores and blow and child pornography and child sex trafficking and human trafficking and extortion and racketeering. And, it just goes on and on and on. The levels of the PTSD, grooming to PTSD, grooming to sex cults, the readiness to blame everything on suicidal tendencies and suicide and all that stuff. It is absolutely apparent that our 44 four-star generals have sold us out, have betrayed us, and the American people now are more ready because we're armed. Praise God. The armed public is more ready to defend this country than our Department of Defense. That costs us a lot of money. It's on our dime. They've been backstabbing us on our dime. And we have then, I went back and I'm looking at all of this information. And of course, I didn't finish it because it's mountainous. But I'm looking at these, the only way I can explain it is like this vulture society. These government, they have to be government employed or politically employed, and maybe they're feds. Absolutely, there are definitely FBI informants involved, and they will come to this kind of case and put their claws, and they'll be really nice at the beginning. They'll infiltrate. We have infiltrators. I know we do. And I'm going to be shocked who they all are at the end of the day. But we have infiltrators that want to pass whatever we have on to whatever, to have the inside scoop so that they can collude and whatever, and thinking that we would collude. We're not colluding. We haven't colluded. We just are trying to get as much information together and then just get opinions. What do you think? Do you and use everybody's memory because this is so convoluted. So, and we remember these infiltrators. We know definitely a lot of them now that came in, real sweet, especially with me. And they wanted, oh, my daughter does card reading, or we're here to help you. We're here to help you. We love you. We're here to help you. And the turning point of all of that, there was a couple turning points, and the main turning point, because everybody has to understand that very early on, before November 9th of 2020, so Richard went missing July 23rd, 2020, maybe before that, maybe on the 22nd, I don't know, but the date is the 23rd of July, 2020, and there's evidence that there was all this false information going on, and there were leaks. There were leaks. People knew things that were going on before we got there, before we even knew that our son was missing. There were leaks. And another thing that people don't understand is they knew they had a month head start on all of this. They were like waiting for us. Whereas we're coming in, we're in shock. We're dealing with hundreds of things at one time with 100 different emotions. And so they can pounce on you real quick. But we knew there were leaks. And praise God, we stayed as calm as we did at the beginning because it was so crazy. And we put together some of those leaks, and we read them there at the meeting on November 9th, that there were leaks coming out of the CID. And this was in front of the FBI. This was in front of the generals, 2 generals, 3-star generals now, Sean Bernabe and Donna Martin, head of the CID at the time. The El Paso Police, the Department of Homeland Security, the U.S. Marshals, on and on. They were all there. And it is, what happened is that Agent Soto took the papers from me and said he was going to handle it. Well, you know what? We have found out that was wrong. Because when you have a complaint of leaks coming out of the CID, the FBI should have taken those papers and investigated the CID and let us know what was going on. So in front of everyone, they broke the law. Okay, that's what I'm hearing. Please correct me. They broke the law. Also, September 1st, so we found out the end of August that Richard was missing. September 1st comes the J. Paulin screenshots, and September 3rd, Boleyn's messages. Why didn't they happen way before? So this is all suspect. Okay? This is all suspect. All our information is starting to make sense, because now we know that child pornography is involved. Now we know that child sex trafficking is involved. And we have the leaked files from the CID and the FBI, those file numbers with file numbers to prove that there are leaks, because you don't get those file numbers, okay? So even we don't have our file numbers. So there is leaks going on. We know that Corinne Adeline West got leaks because she knew a week before we knew that Director Ford responded to Senator Cruz's letter on Find Richard Halliday a week before we did. You have to understand, Director Ford is in Quantico. Director Ford is over the CID in Quantico, Virginia. She knew a week before we did that there was a response. And so these are people that say they're we're just trying to help, but has a daughter that has a relationship with Dallas Hart. Now, yesterday, Dallas Hart told us he did not know Deborah West, that Deborah West did not teach him to fly, even though we have screenshots telling us that Deborah West was teaching Dallas Hart to fly. So that needs to be, someone's lying in there, okay? Someone's lying. I don't know. I'm just the mother, And then they get mad because I'm saying, I'm not believing you. I'm not believing you. You need to do better than to call us 2.5 years later, going on 3 years, going on 1,000 days. A year ago, we had communication. You could have called us any time in this whole year to set this record straight. I'm on here every day. There's no excuse. And he did apologize for that. And he was all kindness and everything, which is also unusual because I have screenshots where, he wasn't all kindness. And his friends sure has not been. I mean, they're saying, I want to F the soul out of Richard and film it and send it to you. This is when we found out we had, and this is a friend. This is a friend, right? Now, that's a nice thing this friend said. And then, they all kind of chimed in. We were getting vile and vulgar messages. I can't even tell you. They were just so disgusting, which is not normal. It's not normal to do that to I don't think it is right to do that to a family that's missing their son, a soldier, an active duty soldier that now is designated the very first CONUS DES 1 missing soldier under the new Vanessa Guillen absent soldier flow chart. I mean, even if it's just for the respect for Vanessa Guillen, for respect for all missing soldiers, they should not do that. And these are former active duty soldiers or active duty soldiers, even those that work with the PAO, even those that work with the public affairs officer for the general, Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe, chimed in this kind of harassment. And, and so, even the first lieutenant, I'm telling you, the first sergeants, first lieutenant, these are friends rallying around Dallas. I'm very glad Dallas has friends that rally around him, but they were doing it at the expense of bullying the family of a missing soldier. Their missing soldier. The first sergeant's missing soldier. The first lieutenant's missing soldier. The general's missing soldier. And then I get a call on day 963, and I'm just supposed to say, oh, thank you so much. I believe you. I don't believe him. I don't believe him. And if he's telling the truth, he shouldn't be annoyed because he should be understanding. He says he's understanding. So let's work to find Richard. You have a lot of power. You have a lot of friends because you're from El Paso. You have a lot of connections there. You have a lot of connections with a lot of things there. And so it would be right and true to help us find Richard. And and you can prove your good character. You say you're honorable and all this stuff, and you just had an honorable career, yet you got out. It just, nothing makes sense. And the friends don't make sense. And you saying that you don't know Deborah West doesn't make sense. Okay? You saying that you don't know Tavita Nusa? Sorry, Samoans stick together. They have an esprit de corps. They have an esprit de corps. And, you know, being a family member with your family, cousins, there is more of a esprit de corps. And we also have proof that you guys like football. Y'all like football. So I don't know if someone is lying there. You see, someone is lying. You can't say with the major people, a major leaker's daughter, you don't have anything to do with. A major leaker CID special agent to your mother, you say you don't have anything to do with. Why? This seems to be covering up for being involved in a crime. Okay? Being involved with criminals. And it's just obvious that I cannot believe you. You have to prove your character. You cannot just do nothing, and then come on 963 days and say, oh, I'm good, and declare, I'm such a good person, I have a good character, and us believe you. No. And I hope you're not insulted by that. You have to prove it. You have to work for it. Because someone's lying. Is Tavita Nusa lying? Is Tavita Nusa's brother lying? Are your friends lying about Deborah West? And Corinne West? You know, you go, oh, well, she reached out to me. No. She's been involved with this for a long time. And she has access to files. She has access to files. She has access to the CID headquarters there at Quantico. What in the world? Tavita Nusa has access to files. He lost his badge. If you lose your CID badge, that's a big deal. All right? So, now, you know, we were really trying to get that picture, the one soldier in the picture. And I think I know who it is now. But it's not really as important now since we have the numbers of the CID and the FBI files that prove that there's leaking. And that we even had people admitting that the files were leaked even further. Wow, so which I need to write that down that I need to send that. The files were leaked even to so-and-so, and I need to send that off to the appropriate authorities. So this is what we're up against. We're up against a $1 trillion agency that has betrayed us, a $1 trillion DOD that has betrayed us, and they should be working for us, and they do have a legal obligation towards Richard, and yet, because they are servicing foreign and domestic enemies and have betrayed us, that's why you only see saboteurs, right? You only see saboteurs, even out of the PAO office of the general at the time, Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe. You know, I can't even make this stuff up. I can't make it up. So, with that, we come to Leilani Hart, who is the mother of Dallas Hart. We're hearing this story and we're hearing this story, and they don't jive. It's like they're selling each other out. They're selling each other out. Mother and son are selling each other out. Something is up. Something is up. Somebody was involved in child porn, because that's what these official complaints to the CID and the FBI are about. Child pornography, rape, child sex trafficking, and many other things. So it gets ugly. And so they're selling each other out. So I don't know who's telling the truth. And I want the person that is telling the truth to come out on top. Right? Because the other person then is involved in retaliation against our son. The very first question I asked Alice is, did you know there's allegations that you've murdered my son? Now, I put that out because I don't want to hide anything. If he's innocent, he needs to know what is going on so that he can fight like hell for himself, for his life, against these allegations. Because somebody wanted to shut Richard up. Somebody wanted to destroy Richard. Somebody did not like it that Richard was not okay with child sex porn, with child rape, with child sex trafficking. Okay, it's big money, I understand. But someone was not happy with it. And he made Child Protective Service complaints. Now, this is another thing that is so odd. The military has had me saying, you have committed crimes against humanity. You have, participated in the destruction of our service members with the grooming and the green lighting of child sex trafficking, child porn, making our barracks marketplaces for illegal drugs, bringing in the frat parties with the whores and all of this stuff I've been saying over and over and over again. And all they have to do is show us those videos, because I was told all kinds of nasty stuff in those videos, okay? All kinds. Now, some people even were like, oh, yeah, Richard's part of it. Show us the videos. I've been accused that I think my son is this perfect kid. And at this time, I do, man. I think he's a perfect... Where are you? I'm kissing him. Show me the videos. I have faith in Richard. He'd rather burn his money than spend it on whores and blow. Right? He'd rather risk his life, and he did. He risked his life. He gave his life to make those Child Protective Service complaints. That's what I believe at this point. And turning in those sex videos, which, all the military has to do, because they have access to the cloud. They have subpoenaed Richard 80 times, and warrants, subpoenas and warrants, whatever, it might be 79 times. It might be 81 times. It might be 85 times by now, whatever. But they have, can you imagine having 10 subpoenas on your life? I mean, it's just huge. This is not 10. This is not 40. This is not 60. This is upwards of 80 subpoenas and warrants on Richard's life. They've combed through his life. Okay. And, he hasn't had that interesting he's had a very interesting life, but, what are they going to, they didn't find anything, y'all. They did not find anything. And he's a yellow Interpol. That's why that's so important. Because if they would have found something, he would be a red Interpol. But he's a yellow Interpol. Okay? So Now, the thing is if the military was very serious about clearing their character up, they would show us those sex videos. They would get us the Child Protective Service FOIAs answered that we have put in. So this whole Tavita Nusa, Lilani Hart, Dallas Hart, Dallas Hart's friends, something is not right. It doesn't smell right. It smells like foul play. It acts like foul play. It talks like foul play. I think it's foul play. And I think it was against Richard. And I think it involves some higher ranking. I think I have this idea of who it involves. And we need to get to the bottom of this. To find Richard, and if Dallas has not done what is alleged of him to do, not just murdering Richard. I mean, can you imagine? And he says he wasn't there. He was deployed. This is, he has this alibi. Okay. So that all, so that's a good start. But there's a lot of questions that remain unanswered. A lot. And just by his word, after being through what we have been through, it's not good enough. It's not good enough, y'all. And not after being lied to about the task force Find Richard Halliday, having opposing sites sabotage the search for our son, having all the crimes that have surrounded this case. Absolutely, we cannot it's just not good enough to just believe a one phone call thing. And I have gotten some messages, not directly sent to me, to other sites. There's no official letter. Let me tell you, if I was accused of raping and murdering and child porn and all of this stuff, I would be fighting just like I'm fighting for my son. I would be out there making a live stream. I would be writing letters. I would have a lawyer write the accusers or he needs to talk to his mother. He needs to talk to his mother. They need to get on the right page together. He needs to, y'all. So, and I did put together more of the map. I'm putting together more of the map. I'm going to add the ranches on the U.S. side tomorrow. It's just every day is a crazy day, and I refuse to. I want to cook my husband a dinner. We're reupholstering with leather our stools. We're gardening, because in all of this, you've got to stay sane and you've got to stay connected with the real world, because this is so insane. And to play with the grandkids, St. Patrick's Day is coming up, to try to stay engaged with the real world, with our church, with my mother. There's only so much time in the day, and you've got to make the most of it. We're trying to make the most of it. And I want to say thank you to Team Find Richard Halliday for making that task easier, because they've done so much work. You just don't even want to know how many thousands and thousands of hours people have put into this to figure out where their soldier, because they've invested in each and every one of our service members. We all have each and every one of our service members. And they are getting destroyed by our 44 four-star generals and admirals that are servicing foreign and domestic enemies that want our military destroyed, and they're doing it for them. It does not make any sense. All of these illegal drug marketplaces being stationed right there in our barracks, having frat parties, having whores and drugs and all of that being brought in right in the midst of our young volunteer sons and daughters. And then you have the PTSD way up, you have the suicide way up, you have the sexual harassment way up, you have sexual assault. I'm talking about rapes, because they make stupid decisions like, we're going to make the barracks co-ed, even though the ratio might be 400 to 1 or 9 to 1 or whatever. Absolute insanity. But we want our women to join the military because guess what? We don't have genders. We don't know you're a woman. We don't know you're a man. This is the idiocy of our 44 four-star generals and admirals right now, okay? They can't even define what a woman is and what a man is. And they seem to have forgotten that when you are 18 to 25, you're full of vim and vigor, and you're at the height. Women are at the height of their beauty at that time. The height. These stupid 44 four-star generals are not stupid. They're not stupid. They know exactly what they're doing. They're destroying our service members. And they're doing it because they're employed. They have betrayed us. And it seems like they're dipping double in, right? They're dipping double in. They've hijacked our military. And everyone thinks they're stupid, but they're not stupid. They're double dipping. What they are is evil. What they are is treasonous. What they are is disloyal. That's what they are. So I've made this map thing, I think is a really good thing. And I know the bank stuff is going crazy. And I did want to comment a little bit on the bank stuff. And I should have showed, so many things are coming out right now. This is a great time, a really, really great time. Everything's being exposed, and we're going to be shaken up, and hold on to your seats. And I just always go back in my memory to before I married Rob. I was engaged to be married, and he had an aneurysm, and we were in the hospital, and he was dying. Okay. And I sat with him for 14 hours in that hospital, and I'll never forget it. We were engaged to be married, and everything was not good, y'all. It was not good because he was so beautiful. 21 years old. 21 years old. I was 20 years old. And I prayed to God that God could take everything away. Everything. Please just give me this man. Just let him live. You could even take him away from me. Just let him live. For his father's sake, for his mother's sake, for the community's sake. He was so loved. You should have seen his funeral. It was amazing. Amazing how many people. He was just such a great guy. I've been so blessed with men. But he died of an aneurysm. And I've never forgotten that lesson, that things, um, easy come, easy go. Easy come, easy go. And don't forget, I had a German grandmother that was on the losing side of that war. She lost her husband, she lost one of her children. She had to raise two children by herself. Came from a very, very poor and abusive father family, and and she left that Siedlung. They called her Hochnas from Horeb, which means stuck up from Horeb, because she didn't want to be in the Siedlung, the area, the housing area. Um, and she wanted a better life. She worked so hard, and she took a lot of criticism to work hard to be a, a better person, and she didn't have much. Even the day she died, she didn't have much. Um, as far as material things, she had 14 visits to the United States with us. She had her grandchildren. She had her great grandchildren. She had amazing, amazing, amazing life, and taught us amazing things. So, so when this banking stuff comes around, and we were in Ireland, 2008, where Ireland was one of the pigs. Remember that? Portugal, Italy, Ireland, Greece, Spain. Um, where they really, I'm talking about tanked. Boom. And the banks declared that, oh, they needed a bailout. They needed a bailout. And sure enough, they got bailed out. But all of the people that suffered because of the criminality of what the banks did, they weren't bailed out. And they still have aftermath to that. But they survived. They survived. The banks got fat rich, and they became more criminal. And that's where we're at right now. this is this is a direct uh, consequence to 2008. You know, and it's gonna, maybe it'll be really ugly, um, because of this fight. Just use cash. Okay, cash is really, really important, because they want to bring in this digital money, but digital money is dangerous because it could turn it off. Cash is cash is anonymous. Cash is king. Cash is king. So use cash, but never panic. Never be afraid. Know a skill. You have to have a skill. Sorry, I've been talking for 2 days. It's been crazy. Um, so know a skill. Have something that you can do, that you can sell. Things are changing, and I hate the change and the fluidity because of the Federal Reserve Bank, and I'm a big Ron Paul person. Um, I hate it. I like stability. The gold standard. Um, and I said that the other day. I don't like the fluidity. I like stability. So I like the Ten Commandments. I like the gold standard. I like having very good, dependable, yet few laws. And that's what God's medium sized book does. Very good, dependable, and unchanging, stable laws that are fair. And another thing is that they offer us days of rest. Man's system doesn't give us days of rest. Sorry, just chaos. So, um, yeah, that I hope that makes people feel good about what's going on, because they're going to see a lot of volatility and not stability, because that's not where we're at right now. So don't be surprised and don't panic. Um, so I made this. Let's see if I can put this display up. Is it working? There it is. Here's my display. Okay, so there. All right, so I have this map, and I'm adding more and more pinpoints. I'm starting to learn how to do that, and of course, this is where I was born, White Sands Missile Range. I know this area. Here is Fort Bliss. This area here. This is Biggs. And I did want to mention. Oh yeah, I was gonna do the grade for Veronica Escobar. And I forgot to do it. Let me do it because Veronica Escobar, she is a representative that is obligated to care for Richard, to care for service members there on Fort Bliss. So, Veronica Escobar. Hope I'm spelling her name right. We wrote her today. This is her grade right now. Can you see it? Veronica Escobar. You get an F minus. Okay, and this is why. We haven't heard from her since December 2020. Okay? We haven't heard from Veronica Escobar. What has she been doing? She has a missing soldier. She has all this new information, all these leaks, everything. She has all of this stuff going on. She didn't care. And she fought. She fought very, very hard to get all of Fort Bliss, to not share it with another representative. She wanted control. What is she doing? Every service member should be totally appalled by Veronica Escobar's participation in Find Richard Halliday. Okay? Appalled that we are headed to day 1000 and we haven't heard from her since 2020. Hello, this is 2023. 2023. And every service member should fight for themselves. Fight for themselves. Fight for your fellow service member. Have some esprit de corps. Because if she can disregard Richard, she can disregard anybody. So we wrote her today and asked her, what is she up to? We want to report. We want to know her future plans. And yeah, so this is her area. And remember that this whole area is training ground. And that by this airport, this Biggs, in this training area, I wish I knew. Here's a golf course. Does it have water? I'm always looking at the water. It has water. Where is Richard, right? Where is Richard? So, is it in this water by this golf course? Yeah, could we look down in it? The other thing that we noticed, maybe it's this one. Maybe it's this one. What is that? Okay, so is that here when you drive to if you have horses and you're into horse racing, then you are going to go to the, I'm trying to find it, Sunland Park. There it is. You're going to go over here to Sunland Park. Here's the racetrack. Here's all the horses, and all up and down this area. If you go up to Albuquerque, this is where we're looking for that Farnsworth Racing ranch. If you know about Albuquerque Farnsworth Racing, let us know. And it's all up and down here. I went too far, I'm sure. There's Santa Teresa. Oh, here it is. Albuquerque. There is some horse racing too in this area, and I showed you that the other day before yesterday, that we're looking at, and I'll pinpoint those too. And then in Ruidoso, there is also a point of interest with the track here, because Ruidoso has a track also, and that Ruidoso Downs right here. So because horses are absolutely involved in this, because what's a great way to traffic children is through these horse trailers, right? And let's go this, okay. And then here's Sunland Park again. There's Sunland Park. And if you are going to try to go across, you're going to want to come across New Mexico. And we're wanting to know during 2020, if you were a Mormon, if you were part of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, did you get an essential pass to travel freely over the border to visit the temple? Because the U.S. side does not have, in the area for the LDS, they don't have a temple. You have to come over to Juarez to go to the temple. And I'll mark that too. I marked one. So here would be coming through Santa Teresa Port of Entry. This is one of our leads that was turned into the authorities. And the lead said it came through Santa Teresa and came down to the Oxo. I hope I find it. I'm so bad at this, y'all. Santa Teresa to the Oxo. I see it. There's the Oxo. We'll go on the ground to prove it to you. I don't know what that is. It's like police there, huh? They're blocking off the road. Anyway, so here it is. Whoops. And there's the Oxo. Okay. So we were told that at this junction, the car went towards Juarez this way, not where it's blocked off. Oops. Oops, sorry, y'all. I'm so bad at this, y'all. I'm very sorry. Okay, and travel down this road here, and this is kilometer 30. And at kilometer 30, you have Rancho Meda, a horse ranch, but you also have a child center, um, like an orphanage, a sponsored orphanage right across the street. But not only that, here it is, child center, like an orphanage, right there. And then so here's the horse ranch, right? Crazy. That's not crazy, but anyway, right down the street, if you come right here, there's another um, place for children. This is like a children's shelter. Look at that. Okay, and if that's not enough, did I just mark those? Further down, you have another child orphanage. Right there. Let's see if we can go to the side view. Let's see if we can go into the side view. Is there a side view? No. Let's go here. What's all these children's shelters and orphanages together? It's Christian. It says here it's Christian. What does it say? Bethel. Okay, so let's go a little further. Casa Hogar Bethel. Um, Seems like they have pretty good money. They have a lot of security. Wow. Okay. And then, let's see if I can. Oh, that's gonna. Let's see, I want to change this map around a little bit so I can get my bearings better. Here it is. These pins really help. Down by kilometer 29, or did I already pass it? They have that new stuff going on. Let's see, I probably passed it right here. This is it. I should mark this too. Remember, I don't know if all of you remember when we did the search in that area, and then we had an after action report that Sammy put in, and they didn't care about our after action report, and the Mexican military or the Mexican law enforcement were going to go there and look there, and then that got like, oh well, he was just kidding, he got hacked, and this is he's not going to do that, there will be no search. And then the next time Sammy went there were all these heavy machinery. Now we know. Now we know what all the heavy machinery was about. Look at what they put in here. And if let's go down and see what's there. Look at that. You can even, I mean, wow. That is something else, let me tell you. I want to get here. So this is like a booming little area here. Um, that's just so incredible. That was not there before. And, you know, it's caused some small businesses to be able to set up. That's good news. Um, yeah. What is this here now? This is also really strange. Anyway, that's a walk across a bridge. A bridge. So, so this area is still very interesting, and so is this. So we're going to be looking into this, and if Fort Bliss was really really serious, um, if our Congress was very serious about helping our service members, if Veronica Escobar was serious, if Ted Cruz, he doesn't care. Okay. I don't think, and this is what my husband said about William Timmons. William Timmons doesn't have to care. Even though we're his constituents, because there's not even a person that wants to run against him. You know, I mean, he's just got it made. I don't know if Veronica Escobar has it made like that, and I don't know if Ted Cruz has it made like that. But they are only going to be driven to do the right thing um, by an election, or and that's why having these elections be fair and be real is so important, because that's the only way that we can move them to do the right thing. Otherwise, it's absolute insanity. So thank you for coming on. If you have any questions, let me look. Oh, I did want to show you. I did mark them. Okay, so here is, uh, right here is Nova Casas Grande, Colonial Dublin. This is all um, stakes for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. They have all this land and business, and it's so beautiful, y'all. I mean, they have orchards, and they have farmland, and they have ranches, and they do breeding, and it's just amazing. And they sell their produce, and they even have their own food production and everything like that. And and right in the middle, let me show you what's there. And I don't understand this at all, but let's see it. And that is Plaza Chino. So this is their Chinese plaza. So I wonder, is there a lot, is this, what kind of deals they have with China there? Be very interesting. I don't know. I don't know. I don't understand why it's not a USA plaza or an LDS plaza, because it's so many LDS there. And let me show you why there's so many LDS there. Because, oh yeah, this is historical, but I won't waste your time. So here is where the this is where their school is, and their school is absolutely to dream for. Wouldn't you love your children going to this school? You can go online. Look at this. It's so beautiful. Look in there. Academia Juarez since 1904. So this is where Mitt Romney's father was born, in this area. They settled this, and this Colonial Juarez has been here. And it is just I don't think it's just high school. I think it's like middle school, and but it's a boarding school, and so they don't have to fear cartel. I they must have a deal. I don't know, but it's a beautiful area, and I guess they have some sports and that's some kinder there. It's really really a beautiful place. Also, right next to it, they have um, their temple. So here's their temple. Nice parking lot, and here's their temple. So there's the LDS temple, and you have to come down to this. And it is nice. This place is lush, and it's so beautiful. Mexico's so beautiful. Anyway, I mean, I love all God's creation. It's absolutely gorgeous. Um, so in all of this, there has to be some kind of pass that people can go back and forth because they have their children that they want to visit. They want to go to temple, um, all of that stuff. So I'll put in that's the orphanage child shelter, Casa Hogar. That's another orphanage. Another orphanage. Um, yeah, that's something. Anyway, and it's very close to the border here. And anyway, I hope that our authorities um, will do the right thing. I really do. We need answers because it's crazy. Richard didn't like what was going on, that's for sure. Okay, let's go and see if you have any questions. Thanks for being so patient. If you have any suggestions, and even if Dallas or Lalani Hart want to come on here, if they want to come on, uh, they're more than welcome. They're more than welcome. We can live stream together, and they can work it out who's telling the truth and who's lying. I'd like to, let's we need communication. Who's lying? Who's telling the truth? Okay. Or Lalani Hart want to come on here? Richard Halliday needs one hero. If you know something, say something. Absolutely, Danielle. Thank you so much. Your family and Richard have been put through so much. 100%. Um, Richard is our child. He is our son. He is our brother. He is James's godfather. And, um, James is 6 years old now. He wants to see Richard, but we need answers. And I don't think those answers are going to be very nice at all. Put their biases aside and bring Richard Halliday home. And it's not just that. Who wants to support child porn and child trafficking? Who wants to support that? So even if Dallas Hart knows stuff, even if he's not involved, he needs to spill the beans for the sake of so many children. And we're being told that um, active duty families are involved. That's not too good. So he needs to really step up and show his character. If he is for the army, if he is for this country, and if he does have a good character, like he told us yesterday, honorable character, then he needs to have an honorable character, and he needs to prove himself. You can't just walk into Mexico during the daytime. Yeah, the story is that Richard is in the USA, his remains. But how can you I just don't know how to not pay attention to the father-in-law of Lieutenant Colonel Bugado and the G3 of the 32nd ATCOM. I cannot not pay attention to that lead, because that asks the question, is the FBI hiding the remains of our son? Because he's saying he's with the FBI. He has to be an FBI informant at the least, because otherwise he would have gotten in trouble for posing as an FBI agent, because we've got him on CCTV footage. We've got the cashier. We've got other people that, we've got the cashier on video giving her whole testimony. So how do you, I don't know. And that lead is different from the lead that Richard's remains were dumped at kilometer 30, kilometer 29. And that's also different from this truck, this blue truck that we found out the information for. And it all connects to people that are associated with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And then it just happens that Tavita Nusa, his brother, and Leilani Hart are part of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And others. So this is not a cold case. We need one hero, but we also need, even if we had that hero, if our agencies are not willing to do their job, well, how are we going to get this done? You know, it's like we have to be a why do you think Rob and I were like, okay, then you need to go on every platform you can. You need to live stream to every platform you can. You need to talk, because the only ways that our agencies that are so broken will do their job is if they're driven to do it. And the only way they can be driven to do it is by the mass population calling them to do something. And so we're hoping that people will put two and two together and say, well, this is not just about Richard Halliday. We need to find Richard Halliday, good, bad, ugly, whatever. But we need to do this for the sake of our country. We need to do this for the sake of our military, our Department of Defense that has been hijacked. We need to do it to free the hostages that are our service members. They need a defense right now. We need to be their defense. And we need to expose the do-nothing attitude or the service to foreign and domestic enemies. And we need to expose that so much that they will be driven back to us, that we can have some kind of justice, that we can get something done. That's what's going on here. Because we've got the leads, we've got everything. Do not tell me that they can't do better than we can. They can. They could find Richard in a day. Because if we've got all what we have, and we've got the attention that we have, and we've got the threats that we have, because we got new threats today. If we've got the threats, if we've got the bullies, then we're over the target. And the military could get it in a second. And so, but they're not willing, because they're trying to preserve themselves. But their duty is not to themselves. Okay? The army is not there for them. They are there for the army. They are there for the institution. They have to honor their uniform. That's why when that doggy sex porn guy pulled out his erection in our uniform on our installation in our gymnasium, wearing his uniform and rank and posting it publicly, it was so bad. It's so bad. And he did it more than once. And he was proud of it. What they do in uniform is a reflection of the institute, the military, the army, the institution, the country, the people, because the people, it's on their dime he's sitting there. It's on their dime that he's pulling out his erection and showing the world how sick our military is. That they can't count on the American army. That they can, and that it is a national security, it's an international security threat. What that treasonous monster that admits to grooming our young sons and daughters to his doggy sex cult so he can rear them. And I can't say it in any pretty way. That's as clean as I can get. Because he's filthy. He is filthy. And why that isn't in the news everywhere, and why he's not being made an example of in front of the world to show the world that no, this is not what the United States military tolerates. But wow. That's what's going on. So there's a lot of grooming. Okay, everyone. I don't know why it won't show all the comments while I'm looking on it while I'm live. But thank you, Jerry. Thank you, Danielle. Thank you so much, Anicia, for your prayers all the time. And, we're going to keep going. And we hope that now we have Dallas Hart on our side, and he's going to show us his honorable character. We're hoping that he shows us his honorable character, or that his mother, Leilani Hart, will show us that she is telling the truth and that she is trying to call out the crimes against children, right? That's what we're hoping. Okay, God bless you. And I will be back tomorrow, God willing.